Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Downsized. My name is Christopher Durham, and this is...
I'm Laraine Durham.
And as I said, we're the Downsized. We are this crazy couple who started a YouTube...
Who's crazy?
You and me both, apparently, who started a YouTube channel. Gosh, we talk about GLP-1s every day. So we talk about the news, we talk about what's going on in our life, we do interviews, all kinds of stuff. Today is actually Sunday, September 7th, and if you follow us at all, you'll recognize we're in a different place. Well, this week we're actually in a different cruise ship called the MSC Seashore. So if you're not familiar with MSC, it's an Italian line that runs. We actually sailed out of Port Canaveral, Florida, and have gone to Cozumel, Costa Maya, and their private island, Ocean Cay. And now we're actually on our way back home, or by the time this airs, we will be in Orlando on our way to the Meetup.
Yeah, so on Sunday, September 7th, we're meeting some Downsized viewers in Orlando. If we haven't done that yet and you're watching this now, you can go to our website, thedownsized.org, to check out all the details and to RSVP. We have other Meetup events scheduled for the fall, so you can go to our website and check those out.
Yeah, this is our weekly opportunity to tell you what's going on in our lives, to give you the numbers, the ups, the downs, the sideways, all those fun things, and then to weigh in on questions from our viewers. We'll talk about those later, but how was the week so far? Did you weigh in this week?
Well, honestly, no, I did not. We brought our travel scale, and I did weigh last week, and I was actually down a little bit. But then we got on this different cruise ship, and
It just hasn't happened.
The eating has been at a level higher than my normal eating.
Not extreme by any stretch.
Not extreme. I mean, I still try to, I make healthy choices. I've been eating a lot of good protein, eating a lot of fish. We've been active every day. I just looked at my step count. I have 9,000 steps for today. So we've been trying to be active, but I know I'm probably up at least a pound or two. So I'm just gonna save it all, save the bad news for myself for Monday when we get home. So yeah,
So yeah, we actually brought our travel scale. It's our info travel scale. People ask about all your carrying. Yeah, it's crazy, I know. If you want to see the travel scale we use, it's available on our Amazon store.
Yeah.
It's in the description underneath the Amazon store is, or you can go to our website, thedownsized.org, and click on store and find it there.
And, we did also bring our shots with us. So this is our shots travel case. There's a little mini fridge in the room. So we've had them in there cooling. So this one holds the vials. So I think one vial is pretty much empty. It's got a few drops in it, and then one's got some in there. So it has a place to hold your insulin syringes and wipes and your, that's pretty cold.
Yeah,
in your vials. So that's not frozen anymore, but it is cold. So now that it's been out and around, you just don't want it to get above 80 degrees. So we just keep it in the fridge to keep it cool. This, obviously we can't freeze this for the trek back.
It'll be fine.
But it'll be fine. It won't be above 80 degrees.
And somebody did ask why we had two cases. So we didn't bring out the second case, but we have another case, which is primarily because I still have a prescription for Zepbound pens as well. And if you have ever had a Zepbound pen, they have those triangular ends on them. So they don't store well in this case. So really the one is for pens, and this you could probably go either way.
One for the Zepbound pens, and then we have this one for the vials. Because when Christopher started, he actually started September 29th, 2023, so almost 2 years ago, on Mounjaro, because his doctor wanted to monitor him very closely. He had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, was on medications for those. We think probably sleep apnea. So he started... I'm telling your story. I guess you can
Happens
tell your
all
story.
the time.
So that's why we have both. Now he's
and
on
I still have
compounded.
prescriptions for both. Somebody asked me about the they were like, I thought you were doing the branded. I'm like, yeah, I have branded in the refrigerator at home too. So
Well, but you do primarily
do compounded right now.
I mean, it's kind of a price equation now, and we're both in maintenance, so that's kind of where we're at.
Doing maintenance then, because people will always ask. First, I'll give all your numbers. Where are you?
Okay. So I'm a 56-year-old mother of 3 children, and I'm 5'5". I started at 193 pounds, and I lost 50 pounds, so I got to 143 pounds, which is actually what I weighed last week. So I might be down 48 pounds this week, but in any case, I say I'm about 50 pounds, and I've maintained that 50-pound weight loss for over a year now. And we did start our journey almost 2 years ago. The end of September, it'll be 2 years that we've been on our tirzepatide GLP-1
adventure
journey, right? And it seems like just yesterday, but then it doesn't. So I don't know, thoughts on that? I don't know, those are all my numbers.
It's just kind of happened. It became life, is what it did.
Yeah, so, we take our shots with us. I may not weigh myself all the time, but I'm always going to take my shot. So even on vacation, we brought our shots with us. Now, back, rewind to a year and a half ago, there were some vacations when I did not take my shot. And I've regretted it because, I feel like this medication gives me guardrails, right? It gives me guardrails. I can veer off the road and crash if I want to.
Sure.
But you know what? If I eat a little too much or a little, it's gonna push back a little bit and say, you're not gonna feel so good if you keep going down this path. I can out eat the medicine if I want to. I'm just not gonna feel so good about it. Yeah. Oh, I'm on a 7.5 milligram dose. I've been on that dose for about 6 months now. So when I was losing weight, I was losing at an average of 1.58 pounds per week. The average weight loss on these medications is between a half a pound and 2 pounds a week, which, everybody wants to go faster than that, but that's really where you want to be, is between that half a pound and 2 pounds a week. You don't want to go faster than that because, then maybe your hair starts falling out or other things that you don't want. So I forget where I was going with this.
Hard to say.
I really don't remember what my train of thought was there.
Pick a new one then. I don't know.
Oh, my maintenance dose. So I lost 1.58 pounds a week. I got to what was my first goal weight, and then I came down in dosage. So my highest dose that I took was a 12.5 milligram dose of compounded tirzepatide. And once I hit my first goal, which I think was like 150, I came down in dose. And I kept going down in dose, but I still kept losing a little bit of weight, right? So I got down to 7.5, and that seems to be my good spot. I tried 5 milligrams. I tried going down to 5. I got a little bit hungrier, and so I adjusted back up. So I'm using this medication as a tool to treat my disease of obesity. I have been fighting the disease of obesity since probably age 10. That's the first time my mom took me to a diet center back in the 70s. So I don't believe that if I come off this medication completely that I will be successful, right? I know I've been doing Weight Watchers pretty much my whole life. I've done every diet you can name. I know what a portion looks like. I just never was able to limit myself to that portion because food noise. I always was thinking about food, always wanting my next meal, wanting to know when we were going to eat again. And, I don't have that anymore. So this medication has just turned off that noise in my brain. And it's so freeing not to have that message all the time, like distract you from working or, doing other things, enjoying your life. You don't have that constant food noise saying, when's lunch? I don't have that anymore. So I plan to stay on this medication long term.
Yeah, me too. All right, my turn.
I guess.
So I actually did weigh.
When?
When you were out frolicking about getting your massage.
All right.
I know.
How was it?
So I was fine actually. I started at 286.4 pounds. I'm 56 years old, 5'10" and a half. As of today, I weighed 185.2 pounds. So I'm down 101.4. So that's actually a little, almost 2 pounds down from last week, which I was up a pound last week. So
that makes no sense to me.
It is what it is. It is what it is. I don't know. It's, the scale's the scale.
It makes me wonder if I should have weighed, because maybe it's not as bad as I think. And that's the other thing too.
You don't
right?
actually know. It's science is science.
I'm a big fan of weighing every day, unless I'm on vacation, and then we just brought the travel scale just really for this purpose, which I guess I blew it. Sorry. Luckily, Christopher Durham is here to keep us honest. But do continue.
Well, so what was interesting is, is we have weighed pretty much every day on the digital scale. It's a Renpho scale. I know we will get courses of they're not accurate. I've seen the research. They're pretty close, people. Yeah. Beyond that, we also have now hundreds of days worth of data. Right, so if you just looked at it at any one data point, maybe it's off. But over the last almost 2 years of data, the trend is right clear on. For those of you who are always wondering, if you look at that scale, my muscle loss, 9 pounds out of 100. So I've lost 9% muscle loss.
I mean, that's just genetics. I mean,
Okay.
I lost my
But I
muscle
think that's
in
the
that.
conversation. So there is so much fervor, and they're all chitter-chattering about me in our Facebook group right now. I'm not working out. Some lady said I was suicidal for it. Oh yeah,
dear.
delightful. But just like I don't know your health situation, I also don't know your muscle situation. I also don't know your genetic situation. I don't know all kinds of things. And the conversation around muscle loss, while it should be watched and it should be monitored with your doctor, and you should do all of the things that's good for you, you should not be paranoid. If you lose weight, you're going to lose muscle. You just are. Everybody's going to do it differently, and everybody has to react differently. So you do what's right for you. I'll do what's right for me. And me and my doctor are perfectly happy. And my goal is to never be skinny, and my goal has never been to be muscular. My goal is to be a regular, average person. That's it. Don't have any other goal beyond that.
I mean,
if you have a different goal, good for you.
I was talking to a guy at the pool yesterday. Of course, I tell everyone I meet about the conversation generally comes back around at some point to what do you do, and then I start talking about this. And he was saying, and he was about our age, and he was saying, I get to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, but I just, I can't stop snacking at night. My wife and I sit on the couch and we eat, and then it turns into this, and then I have some alcohol, and then next thing you know, rinse and repeat. And I said, and he was big on, but I go to the gym.
Doesn't make you healthy
but
either,
I work
people.
out. And I said, well, you know what? You can't outrun your fork, right? So believe me, I've tried to out-exercise my eating, and I pointed to the drink in front of me, which was a tropical drink, and I said, it'd probably take me an hour of running to burn off the calories that I'm going to consume in about 30 minutes in this drink. So you can easily eat too much, right? It's all about the food. It's always been all about the food. You don't need to exercise to lose weight. And, people will get all upset and all up in arms about that. You need to exercise for your heart health and for your fitness level and for longevity and for stress and a million other reasons that exercise is good for you, but you don't have to exercise to lose weight. Because if exercise caused weight loss, I ran 2 half marathons at 186 pounds. I was eating the calories that I was burning running all these miles. So, and it's important that we don't compare ourselves to other people, right? What he wants to do is what he wants to do. What I want to do is what I want to do, and what you want to do is what you want to do. So we can all.
And don't call me a deflated can of biscuits, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it's better than a busted can of biscuits, I guess.
Oh, that might have been. I might not have quoted it properly. But here's the thing: we don't need to create a new toxic culture.
Right.
We don't need to. The toxic diet
Right.
culture is going to take us another 100 years to get rid of. Don't replace it with judgmental crap
With
across
I'm
all
losing
this
weight
other
in a
stuff.
better way than you're
Right.
losing weight, right? Because that's what people do when they judge us for being on these medicines in the first place, right? You're cheating. You aren't you worried about side effects? Blah 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 blah. No, it's not cheating. As Mindy, or viewer Mindy says, yeah, I'm cheating death. Duh. So, so let's not come at people who are trying to improve their health by taking these medications, by using them as tools to fight the disease of obesity. And we're not doctors. We say this all the time.
Mm-mm.
We're not doctors. We're not experts. I've talked to probably 100 people, interviewed them who have been on these medications. I've learned a lot just about what people do and what works for one person and another person and another person. I know what works for me. So, if you have questions, please talk to your doctor. These prescription medications you have to get from a doctor, right? So wherever you're getting your medications, if it's from your online provider, if it's from your local doctor, ask them these questions.
But you're not superior because you're making different choices. You're making the choices that are right for you, and I hope that you and your doctor are working that out, but you're not. And there's no guarantee, just like with nausea, constipation, or any other potential effect from weight loss in these medications, that you'll lose all that stuff. It's paranoia. I promise you it is. I've lost 9 pounds. That's my problem. Your problem is something else, so you treat your problem. Don't give me shit about it.
I mean, I forget my number. I think out of my 50 pounds lost, it was probably twice that. I don't remember. But, we can't choose. And I exercised and ate the protein and drank did all the things, right? I can't choose what my body chooses to offload as I lose weight. I can't choose if it's fat or water or muscle or whatever. I can only do the best that I can by trying to eat 80 to 100 grams of protein a day, by working out 3 to 5 times a week, by lifting some weights and, doing some things like that. So,
Yeah.
And then I was doing all the things. I lost a lot more than 9 pounds of muscle. And if you lost a lot more than 9 pounds of muscle, oh well, you know what? We can build back. It's harder to build back muscle. It's easier to keep the muscle you have. That's why protein and lifting weights, it's easier to keep the muscle that you have than to build muscle, because building muscle is a whole different ball of wax.
And the improvement in your life and your health from losing the weight outweighs the muscle loss.
Well, and that's true.
Period.
Also, right?
I lost 100 pounds. My blood pressure came down, my cholesterol came down, I sleep better. Everything about that has lengthened and improved my life.
Yeah,
the 9 pounds of muscle,
who cares?
I don't miss one little bit.
Who cares?
Not even a little bit. We have scuba dove for the first time in the last 2 weeks. We have biked, we have walked, we have done all of these things. I have had zero problems keeping up and doing any of it. Not out of breath, nothing. So I'm good. You make sure you're good. Yeah.
You might notice that Christopher doesn't have his glasses on today.
Yeah, well, I had that problem.
Would I like to tell him what happened?
We went down to the spa in the steam room. They have a couple of steam rooms and saunas and a thermal area is what they call it.
Different hot.
And I had my glasses, and I think I put them in my bathing suit pocket, and I thought I had zipped it up. But then when I went to leave, my glasses were completely gone, and they're gone. I have no idea where they are.
And we've gone down there and asked. We've asked at guest services. We've multiple days and time. We've gone through boxes of glasses. None of them are his. So he has his sunglasses, which are prescription.
They are.
So he'll be able to like see to drive and stuff. But
We don't have our car anyway, so
well, like
it doesn't matter.
when we drive to Orlando for the
Yeah, well,
for the
that
meetup,
for
you
sure,
know.
yeah.
So anyway, that's what happened there. So this is Christopher Durham without glasses. What do you guys think? I was like, oh, kind of cute without glasses. Maybe you should go back to contacts. When we
Maybe.
first met, he had contacts.
Yeah. Well, I made a eye doctor's appointment for next week, so I'll go to the eye doctor. And I've got some older glasses that are a very similar prescription that I can wear in the meantime at home.
He likes to do the hot tub for longer time. I can only stay in there for so long. So I had gotten out and left. And he said, "Oh, I'm just going to stay for a while." And he comes back. I'm like, "Where's your glasses?"
I don't know. They're gone.
All right.
Just one of those things.
One of those things.
Did I say my weight? No, I did say all that, didn't I? Anyway, so I'm on 15 milligrams is my dose and have been for the last, 50 some odd weeks. It's working very well for me. I do not plan on extending it out. I do not plan on reducing it. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still once a week shot takers. That works for us. At some point in the future, I might try other things, but for now, I'm every 7 days with the shot. Also, I want to mention that we are sponsored by an app called Me Again, and on shot day, it gives you a list of things, a checklist of things to do, and this is what it says. So on shot day, which is today, have a high protein meal or drink, drink lots of water, electrolytes in parentheses, if that is something that you do, load syringe, okay, take the shot, Christopher's favorite step.
Yep.
And then it says about 2 hours later, it gives you timelines based on when you take your shot. About 2 hours later, it says have another high protein meal or drink. So I thought that was an interesting little checklist and something that comes up on your shot day as a reminder. It also gives you a push notification that, hey, today's shot day, because, life gets busy and sometimes we forget. But that app is called Me Again, and you can find it in the App Store. It's only available for Apple. Sorry, Android people, there's not one for you.
All right, so is it time to answer some questions?
Yeah, and the number one question that I get all the time is, Laraine, where do you get your compounded tirzepatide from? I get my compounded tirzepatide with any problems with that. So if you'd like to go to Mochi, it's joinmochi.com. You can use my code and save $40. Is it $40?
Sure.
My mind went blank. $40 off your first order. Copy and paste the code in the comments, but it's QIYG, the letter O, and 8.
It's in the description.
It's in the description. Yes, it's in the description. Just wanted, because people have been emailing me that, so I'm just gonna, make sure that. Okay.
All right. So question number 1, and if you'd like to submit questions, you can either submit them underneath us or underneath this, or actually any of the videos. You can ask a question. As long as you put it as a question with a question mark, I'll find it because it has a magic search for questions button in there, or you can send them to me at christopher@thedownsized.org. Question number 1 is from Simon, who has an interesting question I don't have ever heard. She says, I have had enhanced smell since starting Manjaro, currently on 10 milligrams.
Superpower.
I'm 77 years old and have lost 23 pounds in 24 weeks, so that's almost a pound a week. You're doing great, cool. Judith. Since the very beginning, I can taste and smell my medicine. It smells like burnt metallic sugar. It's very strong right after my injection and gradually fades, but never completely goes away. It starts up again with my next injection. It is maddening. Have you heard others with this side effect, or am I just special? Well, I'm sure you're special, Judith.
What dosage?
I don't know that I've
7.5?
Yeah.
Or does she say
she's
what
on
dose?
10. She's currently on 10. I don't know that I've heard that specific one. I mean, I have definitely had heightened taste, and I have had a metallic taste. I don't know that I ever had that I personally associated that with the taste of the medicine, but maybe you're right. I don't know.
I don't know if it's a taste is the right word, but there's something in my mouth that I take the shot and then I have this flavor in there, or this feeling, or I don't know. I wouldn't say that I taste it, but something's in there, and I don't know if it's metallic. But I definitely do have that, but I don't have it. I have it like the day of the shot, and then it dissipates over time. I think Barb Herrera has that. When she takes the shot, she immediately feels something in her mouth too, and that's how she knows it's working. That's how she knows it's good, right?
And smell, we have heard some people periodically have a heightened sense of smell. I don't know that I've heard them mention they could smell their shot.
I haven't heard that.
I went through a phase a couple of weeks ago where raw chicken was too much for me.
The smell of raw chicken?
Yeah, it's just I couldn't do it.
Well, is that why we couldn't have chicken for those couple weeks?
Yeah, I was just like, nope, can't do it. It's grossing me out. I can't do it.
Why didn't you tell me that?
I did. You just didn't listen.
Well, you just said you didn't want chicken. And I'm like, what do you mean?
I was like, nope, can't do it. No, it was just like I couldn't.
Just couldn't.
It was overwhelming for me.
I think when I was pregnant, I couldn't handle raw chicken.
It wasn't looking at it. It was the smell.
The smell.
Which I attributed to the medication. So I don't. You're not alone, but that does sound like a slightly unique interpretation.
I mean, I would talk to your doctor about it. Maybe your dose is too high. Maybe if you went down in dose, it sounds like you're losing about a pound a week. So I don't know how many more pounds you have to go, but I would definitely talk to your doctor about it and maybe, go down in dose once you hit your dose somewhere along the way. This is from Dora. She says, I'm just starting on my GLP-1 journey. So far, so good, but I feel I could use a suggestion about when to schedule supplements. Trying to work them in and figuring out what time of day, I'm sure varies depending on the individual. Here's what I'm taking and wondered if you would mind sharing when you and Laraine schedule these. Vita Fusion Fiberwell Gummies. How many and when? Mago 7. Same question. Element didn't work for me, so I'm trying out a different brand. But when do you take electrolytes?
Well, so that's the whole thing. Let me start with that one though, because people will disagree with me on that, and that you're perfectly fine to disagree. I don't really believe you should proactively take supplements. I believe you should go to your doctor, get your blood work done, and if you need vitamins, minerals, whatever those things are, then you should work with your doctor and have an appropriate regimen. And then if you are having side effects, then you should actively manage them. Only between 20 and 30% of people in the research were reported to have any given side effects, which means the other 70 to 80% didn't need this sort of stuff. So if it's something you need, absolutely you should. I would not just start taking an aid for constipation or nausea or anything else unless you need it personally. What would you do?
I'd say if you're prone to constipation and you're just starting your GLP-1 journey, to go ahead and get on top of it. And fiber gummies they're not gonna hurt you.
Although
right?
we have heard stories.
As long as you are only eating 2 a day. Only 2, I think the label says only 2 a day. Do not take more than 2 a day. And they're tasty and they taste like candy and you might want to keep eating them. So don't, because you might make the problem worse that you're trying to solve, if you know what I mean. All right, so and these are all things that I take. So when do I take the fiber gummies? So I take 2 fiber gummies. I just bought a new jar the other day. I like to put them on my desk at home when I'm working because I just kind of take them as a snack and I'll remember them if they're on my desk. That's what I do. You can put them in your bathroom. I don't think it matters the time of day that you take fiber gummies. Okay, next question. Mago 7, same question. Now, Mago 7 is something that I use to relieve constipation when I have not pooped in 3 days. I'm just going to say it like it is, okay? And sometimes that happens. Even now, almost 2 years into this, I have probably always had chronic constipation and just not really realized it or cared really about it that much. But this medication definitely made that more pronounced. Okay, so when I take the Mago 7, when I need only as needed, I take it at night on an empty stomach before bed. I take 3. The directions say you can take 1 or 2 or 3. I've played with it.
I wouldn't jump to 3.
I wouldn't jump to 3. Yeah, I would test it with 1. And if nothing comes out that next day, go to 2 and, etc. But I take 3 a night with about 16 ounces of water, and it's like magic in the next morning, and everything is once again running smoothly.
And 2 things. Number 1, we're not doctors.
I'm not a doctor.
Right. Number 2, I've never taken anything for constipation at all. So
He's never had that problem.
It's really an individual person thing. You may or may not need any of that.
And I have a direct link to Mago 7. I'm a Mago 7 affiliate. So if you want the direct link, it's in the description. It's also in our Amazon store at thedownsized.org. Okay. And then when do you take electrolytes? I just had some just a little while ago. Usually how I take electrolytes is I put them in my water bottle when I go to work out, because I'm drinking water a little bit as I work out, but then post-workout I just feel like it helps my recovery. And that's what I do. Do I drink electrolytes on days I don't work out? Sometimes. I mean, if I'm feeling kind of like I don't know, headachy, or maybe I haven't been drinking enough water, I will add some electrolytes in there, because I do think it helps me. And I do like Element. There's a lot of other different ones out there. They have them at Walmart, they have them at Aldi, so you can try out some different ones and see what works for you.
Talk to your doctor, particularly if you have blood pressure issues, if you're prone to having salt problems.
Yeah, you don't
Honestly,
want to overdose
most
yourself
doctors
with
will
these
say you do not really need
supplements,
electrolytes unless you're working out heavily and sweating. That most people are getting enough salt and other things from the food they eat. So yeah, you do you, but talk to your doctor, please.
You want to make sure. I also take a multivitamin, and I take that in the morning. So my multivitamin has some magnesium in it, and then I'm taking this Element. So you want to talk to your doctor about all the things that you want to take, and make sure that it's not going to hurt you, right? You don't want to overdose yourself.
Magnesium is very common across supplements. It's easy to get too much of that. All right, next question is from Cindy, and that one's for you.
Okay, this is from Cindy. She says, I heard you mention that 7.5 was a good dose for you. Yes, it is. My question is, was it better than the higher doses? There's no better or worse, but I'll explain. I have moved up to 12.5, hoping to go up to 15. The thing is, though, 7.5 worked better for me than 10 or 12.5. If the 15 doesn't work well, I will go back to 7.5. I was just curious if it was the same for you. Thanks. That's a really interesting question. So a lot of times we want to zip up to the quickest dose as fast as possible, thinking a higher dose equals greater weight loss. And we don't think that's necessarily the case. Now, again, we are not doctors. We have not had any clinical trials run on this.
And remember, the goal, though, is to lose between 0.5 and 2 pounds on average a week. So if you're losing more than that per week for long periods of time, you're going to increase side effects. You'll lose hair. Other things will happen. You don't really want to.
So, and maybe you're keeping a spreadsheet like I keep at home of, or keeping on the Me Again app or another app of your date, your dosage, your weight, how much weight you lost this week, for all the weeks. And 7.5, I think, was a really good dose for me. When we started, we didn't know that if a dose is working for you, stay on that dose. If you're losing between 0.5 pound and 2 pounds a week, there's really no reason to increase your dose. There's not. If your weight loss slows down after a time of being on a dose for 4 weeks or more, then maybe talk to
because she's asking about the 7.5
The thing is though, 7.5 worked better for me than 10 or 12.5. You can go back down in dose if you want to. Now, I wouldn't go from 15 to 7, right? You need to step. If you're on 12.5, you could step down to 10. If you're on 10, you could step down to 7.5.
And here's the thing: there's no reason to believe that how you reacted to 7.5 a month ago, 6 months ago, however long ago will be the same way you will react to it today.
And maybe in maintenance or
because your body has been adjusting to the medication over time, and every week, every dose, your body learns a little bit and it adjusts and it does things. So you, in all likelihood, will have a different response. It's just not going to be the same.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you mean, because I felt like that about 7.5 also. I felt like that was a really good dose for me, but I did move up to 10 at some point. I don't have my spreadsheet with me, so I can't tell you. And then I did move up to 12.5. If a dose is working for you, stay on the dose. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I've been on 15 for now 50 weeks and it's still working just fine. So, there's options. All right, from Camille, she says, I live in Brentwood, Tennessee. Is that close to where you lived?
I think that's close to Nashville.
I don't know where Brentwood is. I'm looking to try a GLP-1, but the cost is what is stopping me. Any ideas on saving? I'm needing to lose 50 pounds. Well, so there's several ideas, but the first one is always go to your doctor and see what, if anything, your insurance will cover. So you have an option typically when you're at your doctor to say, hey, here's what's going on. Talk to me about what I'm typically. There is a set of medications made by Novo Nordisk, Wegovy, or what's called semaglutide, and there's a set of medications made by Eli Lilly, Mounjaro, Zepbound, or tirzepatide. If one of those will be covered or the price dramatically reduced for you, then that's the one you should take. And that's where I would start.
If your insurance covers one, that's what you need to do.
If it won't, then you have the option of looking at it and depending your age and your health insurance, and there's a lot of factors in there, but you may have the option to use some coupons. So both Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk have coupons that should get the price down considerably. It's still very expensive for both of those, to between $499 and $650, depending on what you're eligible for. And then if that doesn't work for you, there's also compounding options, and like Laraine mentioned.
I had, this was probably 3 years ago now, I had been asking my doctor, is there something I can take? I'm running these marathons, I'm like doing all these things, I do Weight Watchers, I've lost 30 pounds, but I just can't get these last 50 off. And she's like, you just need to keep dieting and exercising. And I was like, okay. And then, I had a friend who lost weight on Mounjaro, finding Mochi Health online.
Okay. All right, next question. This was about the video I did on Eli Lilly's tirzepatide lawsuit loss. So basically, the judge said no. But this is, why isn't the legal battle focused on patent rights? Patent is that document that when you create something, so I invent a pen, that it then allows me to protect whatever I invented for X amount of time and make money off of it myself. So like Eli Lilly has patented tirzepatide, Novo Nordisk has patented semaglutide. So far, although there are a couple of patent cases out there floating around, most of the cases have really involved misuse of marketing and a few other you're stealing my business kind of things. And that's actually what this video was about. And basically the courts told Eli Lilly that
show me the harm.
Yeah, show me the harm, and that it wasn't being backed up.
Show me what damage you sustained.
In the community of people who are having this conversation, so whether it be us or Dave Knapp or Lee Fitzen, who's an attorney, the common conversation around patents is that the manufacturers don't really want to get their patents in front of the court, because if they lose the battle over the patent, they lose the patent. And that is too big of a risk for them.
Huh.
I'm not a molecular biologist or a lawyer, so I don't really know how big of a risk that truly is. There's lots of people who believe they wouldn't stand up. I can't speak to that one way or the other. So they've been chasing them down in other avenues, and the judge in the last week has not held them up. In fact, they just kicked the Willow case out altogether. So,
and I think it's important to understand that compounding pharmacies have been around for 100 years. That's how all pharmacies started, as compounding pharmacies. And in times of drug shortage, like Mounjaro, like Ozempic and Wegovy, these were all in shortage when we started 2 years ago. You couldn't find them. And when a drug is in shortage, compound pharmacies are allowed to make copies of that drug. Now, we're not in shortage anymore. So why they still get to make them? Well, now the dose has to be personalized for the patient. So that's why they're adding different things to the tirzepatide, the compounded tirzepatide, like a B vitamin, like glycine, like other things.
And basically the judge in the California case where Lilly was suing Willow Health said that fell under the FDA or under the FDA guidelines. So in the real world, if you or I invented a bicycle or a spaceship or a whatever thing, patent law works one way. In the medical and healthcare law, patent law, it coexists with FDA regulations. And FDA regulations can actually supersede patent law. So in the case that Laraine mentioned, where they were allowed to make it because it was in shortage, well, that's because the FDA regulations said they could. Now,
It's perfectly legal.
It's perfectly legal. You could argue whether that's the right thing or not, but that is the law as of right now, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. That personalization aspect is part of it too. So patent law is not clean in medical and healthcare. It's an interesting thing. Chris also says, also in their earnings reports, there were estimates of lost income from compounders. Wouldn't that be considered factual evidence? And couldn't Eli Lilly request court for compounders to disclose their sales? Well, so there's a couple of things going on there. First of all, well, they're not privately held. They're publicly traded. So we know all this stuff.
Not the compounders.
Well, yeah. Lilly didn't actually have estimates in their quarterly reports. Novo Nordisk did. Novo Nordisk said basically the compounders were the sun was in my eye and we're causing an issue there. Lilly didn't say that at all. Lilly was like, nah, they're not causing a problem. Even and Dave Ricks, the CEO, went so far as to say it wasn't an issue. Again, their legal strategy, which increasingly looks like a bad legal strategy.
Whose legal strategy?
Eli Lilly's. Was to basically say, nanny, nanny, boo-boo, it's ours, you can't play with it. And you guys are bad, and it's dangerous. And the judges basically said, no, you haven't proven any harm. They didn't come in with any legitimate numbers lost. And they basically, in the Mochi Lilly case, the judge said, they're not even really competitors of yours. Ooh. Yeah, so...
Yeah, the judge wanted to know what's your damages, Eli Lilly? What losses have you suffered? Have any patients been harmed? No. So the judge was like, see you later, Eli Lilly.
Or you have to show harm to Lilly. So we're not lawyers either. We don't. Sure, Lilly will come back with a whole different legal strategy because basically the judge told them they had to.
Well, and they have, they're making $5 billion a quarter. You'd think they'd come up with some better legal strategies, and they probably will.
Or honestly, fire the lawyers and take all that legal money and lower the price.
That'd be fun too.
All right. Next question. This came to me after my 12-to-1 tips that helped me drop to 100 pounds, which you guys have liked so far, which is what dose am I on in maintenance? I'm on 15 milligrams of tirzepatide, Zepbound, and have been for the last 50 plus weeks. I will continue on that until it doesn't work for me anymore, and it seems to be working just fine right now, so I take it once a week, every 7 days, typically on Friday. We'll take our shot today, actually.
Yeah, so Christopher has not dropped down his dose. I have dropped down my dose. Opinions vary. You can see what works for you. Ask your doctor.
There's no real good research on maintenance right now. There's a couple of studies in the field, but they haven't reported yet. All right, next question, also from that same tirzepatide lawsuit video. Do we have an update on what's happening with Trump's most favored nation executive order? And then will this lead to Japanese prices for tirzepatide soon? Not intended as a political question, pricing curiosity only. So Trump's proposal around most favored nations is a policy proposal. It is not law. So it never went in front of the Congress and the House and the Senate, and there was no law passed. It was just the president saying, hey, this is what we want you guys to do, and saying if you don't, then XYZ will happen. So what then very quickly happened was the first and really the only thing so far was Eli Lilly said, no problem, we'll raise our prices in England. Because England had significantly lower prices. So basically it hurt English patients. Remember, American law, even if this were a law, and it's not, it's a policy, cannot force other countries to do things. So most favored nations will not force Japan, China, Russia, anybody else to do things. They can still look at you and go, we're going to do what we want to do. The hope with the policy is that we have enough economic power that he can essentially bully them into changing the prices. So far, we have only seen prices go up in other countries because of most favored nation policies. I do not project them coming down in the U.S. significantly anytime soon. They might lower them $5 and go, see, now you're even with the price we raised in the U.K., but...
Well, and we can mention today we were in Cozumel. So our ship stopped in Cozumel today, and we decided just to walk around Cozumel and, shop and just see what we could see. There was all these pharmacies. A lot of pharmacies. I don't remember seeing this many pharmacies before, but, it seems like we came into a different part of the port in Cozumel than we have previously. I don't know why. I didn't realize there were different arms of the port, maybe. Anyway, a lot of pharmacies. Yeah. And the first one I saw, I'm like, I'm going to go ask them if they have Manjaro. So they had Manjaro, but only the 2.5 dose, and they also had Wegovy. At one pharmacy, a lady said, "Well, I'll sell you 2 boxes of Wegovy for this price," and she punched it in the calculator. It was $1,300 for 2 boxes of the starting dose of Wegovy. I was like, no, thank you. How much is your Manjaro?
Well, that's not a deal by any stretch.
No. Yeah. And then, so she told me the price of Manjaro. I forget what she said. What did she say? Like $200 or something like that? For the 2.5 dose. I said, what about, do you have 10? Do you have 12? Do you have 15? No, we only have 2.5. None of them had a dose higher than 2.5 Manjaro.
And I'll tell you, the advertising that they had up and the pictures in the advertising... It all looked a little wrong.
It looked like, is this real?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are these real Eli Lilly medications?
It looked a little off.
Or are they one of these fakes that we've done news stories about? We didn't buy any.
No,
We're not going to do that. I mean, I'm not going to inject myself with medication where I'm not going to do that. So. Anyway, people have asked us about that, and so we did look into it today in Mexico.
And as of today, there's no reason to believe that most favored nations is going to lower any prices. If something changes tomorrow, great. I'd love to see the prices come down. Yeah. But today, the only thing that's happened is they're charging more in the UK, and there's a lot of people who are fighting the disease of obesity that have been penalized for Eli.
Okay.
All right, next question. Hi, Christopher. I know you always do your research, so I have a question. At what age will a doctor prescribe a GLP-1? My granddaughter, who is 17, was turned down. Just curious, and thank you in advance. Thank you for your encouragement. Absolutely. So the numbers are pretty easy. Basically, beginning at 12, semaglutide or Wegovy can be prescribed by a doctor. Beginning at 18, tirzepatide, Manjaro, Zepbound can be prescribed by a doctor. That being said, there are a lot of doctors who are not comfortable with writing those prescriptions for kids. 17 is pretty old. I mean, that's on the older side of a teenager. I would definitely make sure you find a pediatrician or an obesity specialist that can help her and have the conversation. Because at that age, particularly, you want to make sure they have the support that work well for them.
Yeah. And there were earlier medications. I remember when we watched the Oprah special, I think there was one teenage girl that had been on...
there's liraglutide.
Liraglutide, which is Saxenda, Victoza. There's different ones that are approved for teens. But yeah, once you have to be 18 for Zepbound.
But please talk to a doctor, because particularly for someone at the age of 17, that could be life-changing to lose however much they need to lose. Mm-hmm. And they're going to end up maybe leaving home, going to college. There's a lot of things, so they need to learn to manage if they have constipation, what they're eating. We can talk about them. All right, so that's our final question for the day. If you'd like to submit a question to us, you can do it underneath. Please make sure you end it with a question mark. That way, when I do a sort, YouTube will say, here's all the questions for you to answer, which will be super easy for me, or you can email it to me at... No worries. If you'd like to join us for one of our meetups, go check out our website, downsized.org, and there's a list of the remaining meetups. So Chicago, Vegas, is that the last two? Chicago and Vegas? Or Atlanta, Chicago, Vegas are the last ones after Orlando. So they're absolutely free. You can go RSVP for that. And of course, we have announced our 2026 Downsized at Sea cruise, which will be June 4th through the 8th on the Freedom of the Seas, which is a Royal Caribbean ship out of Miami, Florida, and go to the Bahamas, so Nassau and their private island, Coco Cay. We'll do lots of fun activities, have dinner with everybody that are on GLP-1s and kind of doing that same journey together. So that's a great way to...
No. We've got other things on the downsized.org website too. We've got an Amazon store with a lot of products that I've used on our GLP-1 journey. You can check that out. We are Amazon affiliates, so we make a small commission off each purchase.
Yep. All right, that's it for us this week, and we'll be back on dry land pretty soon. So we'll see you then. Make sure you check us out Wednesday night for our live. So the Downsized Live, you can come ask us all these questions live and in person too. So.
Not in person, but
well,
we'll be live on YouTube on Wednesday.
You can type comments and we'll respond.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Christopher Durham.
I'm Laraine Durham.
Please like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, like and subscribe. I don't think we said that one time.
I don't think we did.
Whole